It was understood that Scorn would be split into two parts, but for the reveal trailer, it turns out the parts have a subtitle, Dasein. This appears only in the reveal trailer and the gameplay trailer and the new Kickstarter, and not the initial Kickstarter or the pre-alpha trailer. Now, why they decided to choose this subtitle specifically has always been a bit of a mystery to me, and when trying to figure out, I think I found at least some relation it has to the game at hand. The term was coined by Martin Heidegger in his 1927 book, Being and Time. The book covers multiple different subjects related to Dasein, which roughly translates to existence or being there. So I was wondering if there was a specific aspect of Dasein that the game was supposed to be representing, and I think I was able to figure that out. One of the conditions of existence is thrownness, where you are thrown into a world. That exact wording is also used for the general overview of the game on its website and Kickstarter, and I don't think that's a coincidence. It's even in quotes. The concept of thrownness is pretty simple. No person is born into a vacuum. Everyone is essentially thrown into a world that has an established history. The circumstances we find ourselves in aren't strictly of our own choosing, but instead a lot of who we are is based off of what has happened before us, that shapes us. For example, I'm speaking English right now because I was raised in a society that speaks that language. The ideas I know about, the politics I might rant about, the entertainment I would indulge in, would not be the same for someone born, let's say, 500 years ago in a different continent. It's not exactly a very difficult to understand concept when you break it down into simple terms, nor is it one that I think many people would find contentious. But what does this have to do with the Geekerian meat shooter game? Just as our world has a history to it and multiple factors involved in it that are strictly beyond our control but are related to us in some form or another, so too is the Scorn world to Scorn Guy. I'm still under the assumption that the game is going to begin with our character waking up in this sort of flesh wall area and find that everything is abandoned. The place has a history and he doesn't know what it is and how he fits into it. And so over the course of the game he's going to explore this lived-in world and figure out why he was put into it. And while Heidegger was a lot more vague and abstract, I think for Scorn people there's going to be a literal purpose that they're born into, that they were put into the world to fulfill, that of course was set up before they were even born, or at least before our character was even born. What makes me think this is the machine that he embeds into himself that's used to operate the console. It's dug deep into his skin and doesn't look like it can be taken out. Why would they use that when they clearly are able to make separate tools to operate machinery that don't need to be permanently embedded into them? I mean, so far we know the Keyblade thing operates this machine, and we know there's other consoles and machinery that can be operated, but again, why not use a separate device? It was going to be even worse with a gun, of all things. And in this concept art you can see some machinery pretty heavily embedded into his head. Wherever his mouth was or should be has been dug away to make room for this hole that you can probably plug something into. And here you can see not only is he plugged into something, but he also has machinery on his face. He seems to be missing an arm, which is replaced by a socket for machinery, and his torso has machinery wrapped around it or even embedded deep into it. Given how it seems like this machinery can't be removed, it could be that all of these Scorn people are born into the world and are immediately assigned a purpose and then augment themselves to fulfill that singular purpose. In many ways, this could be analogous to human biology, which would be fitting given it's a theme of the game, and given how much meat there is in the game and all the fleshscapes, one could wonder if the Scorn people see themselves as individual cells in a larger body. So that's what I managed to gather from my own research into this. There's probably more to it, or it could be that they're all supremely pretentious and there's actually nothing to it. It would be great if we could know the subtitle for part 2, and maybe that'll help illuminate things a little bit, but of course they're secretive as ever. So until it comes out and we can answer this maybe definitively, I hope you enjoyed the video, that gave you something to think about and otherwise entertained you. Take care.